All right, team, now it's an exciting day. We have the client who is here. They are now in the office and we are ready to sign, okay? So what we're gonna do now is in the previous videos, you've seen how I've been able to prepare all the homeowner documents prior to the homeowner coming in. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna review the project quote, the final quotes that myself and the client have been working on. You want to make sure that there's no additional changes, any plumbing, electrical features, fixtures, structural options, etc. Okay. Once you get the quote exactly the way that the client wants it, okay, as shown in a previous video, you are going to then convert that quote into a home order, okay, which I have done. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to print the actual home order documents. And you'll see that in that video as well, where you print the binder, you print all of the contract docs, and then you also print the pay agreement. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I am now getting ready to present this to the customer and walk them through all of this. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the actual floor plan with the client. Depending upon the printer at your office, you'll probably do it in large scale, 11 by 17. But just for ease of this video, I just did it on legal paper. So you'll notice that the first page of the home order or of the floor plan on the home order is what elevation do they want? Making sure that you have discussed all the structural options with the client. Talking about kind of fixture options, lighting options, and cabinet options. Okay, we do want to take the time to go through the actual floor plan with the customer while they're present. If there's any plumbing or electrical, we'll use a red pen. My apologies, these are a photocopy, but you'll use a red pen, add those things. This family here is adding a chase and inloading the garage and those types of things. Okay, and you'll see that I'm asking the customer to also sign and date. Okay, so as we're going through this, we're actually signing and dating this, and there's your options page. You'll notice that when you print the floor plan, depending upon how many elevations are available, you could have classic, tradition, signature, craftsman, or impressions, but you really only need the elevation that the client is choosing to sign. The other elevations are not needed for the contracts. Final page of the home order is always going to be the cabinet layouts. Okay, so we got that all dialed in and figured out. Then what I've done here is you'll also notice that we have done all of the color selections. Just for ease here, I just made it all what I called a design center. But normally at your branch, you have picked all of the colors for the client. As a side note, do not hold up a home order because a customer might be undecided about a color selection or two. Don't worry about it. At the very least, we can reorder and resend these documents to the client, either personally or with DocuSign. So don't ever hold up a home order if you can't get 100% of your color selections true and accurate. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I simply go through the home order with the client. I want to make sure that names, addresses, contact information. I want to make sure that I'm ordering the correct home. I'm checking my orientation. Is it standard or reversed? Okay, and you'll see here that this floor plan is a standard orientation plan. Okay, I'm then making sure I've already checked my mileage, and the client is also understanding this is a traditions elevation. We've already done this once, but we're just going to be going down through each of the items, and we're going to confirm with the client one final time that's exactly what they are expecting, and then they'll go ahead and initial and date. I will go through any custom options. And again, I've also drawn the custom options that you saw on the floor plan there. And I want to make sure that they understand that exactly what's written here is shown on the plan. Again, we go ahead, we sign and date that. This is the final page that we're going to go ahead and sign and date specific to the binder. And then the fourth page, sometimes it can be a fifth page depending upon options, is that we're going to go through. You'll see that the customers are going to initial. We need to read this to them, that the agreement and price are subject to the officer of Adair Homes to be binding. The processing fee is refundable only in the event that Adair does not accept this agreement. No representations will be honored or recognized which are not part of this agreement, and I will not make changes to Adair's product during construction. We don't want to do a bunch of changes during construction. So they're going to go ahead and sign that, or initial, sign, and date that. And then what we have next is the standard finance draw schedule. This is a very typical draw schedule. It has nothing to do with the lender that they're choosing to use. This is a standard draw schedule provided by Adair Homes, standard in the industry. So they acknowledge that. Then what I'm going to do is on the joint house building agreement, I am going to go through and I'm actually going to read all of these items shaded in gray tone. Okay, you ready guys? I'm going to go ahead and start reading. No, I'm just kidding. So for this video, I'm going to go ahead and skip that, but it's very important to you to understand and read these items shaded in gray with the customer. They'll go ahead and sign that. Page 2 of the joint house building agreement as well. We want to go through each of these items. And again, the reason why this is so important is, let me reiterate, this is a joint house building agreement. So this is the specific conversation that Adair and the client are jointly building a home, right? We're responsible for building the home. They are responsible contractually for providing a stable pad and doing the site development, okay? Third page of the joint house building agreement here just talks about arbitration resolution. We're going to go ahead and sign and date that. We then have the materials and specifications. So please understand, team, that these are the items, again, that the customers are responsible for: building site preparation, excavation, on and on and on, site development, okay? Then on page 2, you're going to see we're going to start getting into Adair's responsibilities. And it talks about how we're responsible for the foundation and all of the structural attributes of the Adair home, okay? And then the final page here wraps up with their signatures and another date. We also have the mold disclosure, okay? This is where we are guaranteeing them that mold will grow in their home if they allow water to penetrate, okay? But the good news is that moisture is the only mold growth factor that can be controlled in a residential setting. So we want to go through this with them. This can be a brief overview. Just let them know that all of the attributes of the home are covered under a full warranty, such as you could have a roof leak. Well, our roofs are guaranteed for life. You could have a window leak. They're guaranteed for life. Currently, we're using Hardy Plank siding, unconditional warranty for 30 years, or you could have a window leak. Our plumbing is PEX. It's guaranteed for 25 years. So the home's covered, but they have to understand that if they allow water to penetrate the home, I mean, they've got to pick up the phone, okay? The Adair Homes Agreement Checklist and Confirmation. This document here is simply my checklist to make sure that I have covered and reviewed everything with them, and they are acknowledging that were the portions of the agreement shaded in gray tone, read to you as you followed along, and then so on and so forth. And this is just a very simple checklist, making sure that the customers acknowledge either yes or no. Okay, and then they sign and date that. Then finally, what we do is we go ahead and we accept the $1,700 deposit from the customer. Please understand and let your customer know. They've obviously seen this in every quote that you've ever provided them, but this is where they provide the first $1,700 of their home order, and they are actually off and running. The final thing that we're doing is we're going to provide them the Adair Homeowners Handbook. And there is the sheet that they need to acknowledge and sign that is part of the Adair Homeowners Handbook. And we can go over this in another video, but this is just a way for them to be organized, methodical during pre-construction in working with your branch administrator at your branch or your construction manager at the branch, depending upon how your branch is set up. So at this point, I send them on their way with their brand new Adair Homeowners Handbook and congratulate them. And that is literally a speed course on getting an Adair home order.